I'm tired now. Say all of 4 words. They'll just be very long words like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Sorry. Realized what I was saying after the fact. So, how's it going today?
Great.
So, oh, FYI, because you're going to see it and you're going to laugh at it. That's me at the DMV when I went to get my new driver's license, and yep, that's what I wore. Yeah. So while sitting there waiting for Tracy, I was like, I'm going to take a photo of me. Collar on. Yeah. So anyhow, today we're talking about this idea. We're still in January, which CSLs across the world are talking about what now? The fundamentals, the back to basics, grounding in that stuff that is the basic essence of, like the Science of Mind textbook, first 4 chapters. Because I know everybody looks at that thick book and they're like, oh, I will never read that. First 4 chapters is the gist of, like it's the and then he expands from there. Does exactly what Dr. Ronnie said. God expands. So he gave us these 4 chapters and then said, now let me elaborate on them with these other 7,692 pages.
Those of you who want to read it, the first 4 chapters will give you a headache. The rest of it you can enjoy.
Exactly.
What's
So,
the name of the book?
Science of Mind, the textbook. So we're talking about this week, week 3. Oh, and let me let you know this. So every month, a specific council or committee within CSL is responsible for the gist of the themes. So back to basics, the Retired Ministers Council, they are the ones that provided the basic information from which this message comes. But of course, Reverend Ray, you know, just because you gave me a recipe doesn't mean I got the... So
Mess it up.
yeah, yes. So today we're talking about successful living by practicing the principles of successful living. Like, what does it mean to successfully live? Like, how do we know what, So that's what we're going to talk about today. So we will explore this seemingly elusive thing called success. Success has been a major brass ring that people have strived to grab. But what is success, and what does it mean to be one, and what are principles of successful living? So if I ask you, that thing, success, like what is it? What does success mean to you, the enlightened folks? If I were to ask you, well, because I already know what you, the enlightened folks, I know how you're going to answer. What does it mean to the average human being? What is success to the average human being? More money. Money. Anything else? Money, power, fame, influence, security.
Get to the top of the ladder.
Top of the ladder. Okay.
Big home.
Big home. Okay. So anyone that doesn't have any of that stuff clearly must not be living successfully then. If that's the way we're judging it, then, and the concept of more money, like there wasn't, I think someone got ready to actually give a dollar amount, but more money, there's no dollar amount. So how do we quantify that? Bill Gates, well clearly he's successful, he's got enough money to buy the planet. Oprah Winfrey, clearly she's got enough money to buy the known universe. So clearly they're successful. But if I had $2.5 million in my bank account, am I successful? Or is that even not enough? Well, what if I've only got $2,000 in my bank account? Well, clearly, based upon the brass ring, clearly I'm not successful. Well, if we're basing it on their standard of success, how many of us actually are successful then? I mean, if you really think about it in terms of how mankind, and yes, I specifically gendered that, mankind, because it has been the masculine energy of the patriarchy that has set this up. Basically, it has been men around the world determining, I am king, and this is how it is. I am pope, and this is how it is. I am ruler, and this is how it is. Let us take this country. That makes me more successful. So yeah, so if we judge it based upon that energy, then the vast majority of people on this planet are not this and never will be that. So just sit with that idea for a moment that the current consciousness of potentially the majority of humankind believe that they are seeking something that they will never become. How depressing is that? And a lot of people come to this teaching, because that was what this first slide was. A lot of people think science of mind or New Thought in general is a get-rich-quick scheme. Like if I want parking spaces, parking spaces. But the people that we know, law of attraction, people like parking spaces, green lights. Yes, yes, yes. I got you. And it's all good, because I saw Harry Potter, and in the beginning they were doing magic tricks to make, but eventually the magic had to grow. Like it had to become what Dumbledore and the other professors, like it had to become a masterful use of magic. It can't always be pulling bunnies out of a hat. So if we don't expand yes, you can use the law of attraction to, you can get some parking spaces, but is that changing anything in the face of the planet? Is that changing consciousness? Is that helping people get clean water? Is that making the koala population now grow because they have been decimated by a fire? Is your getting a parking space right in front of the store benefiting the planet? I understand it's benefiting you right now. I got that. But what else are you manifesting other than just a parking space? So there's this idea, the magic iceberg. And we see success as this thing that's above the iceberg. And then we always talk about all the things that are below the iceberg that people never see. And you never see all the work that goes into becoming a millionaire. You don't see all the work that goes into me getting that big house and getting power and influence. You don't see all the work that goes into that. That's all this stuff, man. I got to push rocks up hills. It's a little green triangle, but I'm calling it a hill, but I got to push it. And there's failure. And there's failure twice because it's a failure fail. And then there's disappointment. There's a little blue heart. And man, it's hard work. Yeah. Yes. That's the consciousness, though. Like this identifies the consciousness of what we tend to think of success. But check this out. We've got this philosophy, New Thought, Science of Mind and Spirit. And this philosophy basically says this. What's above the and what's below the are both success. Now we may be saying, well, how is that so? If I ask us, generally speaking, according to the mass consciousness, if I ask you what is the opposite of success, what do you tell me? Failure. And if I then say, God is all there is, can God fail? I don't hear you. No. Okay, so if God can't fail, then does that not mean that everything God does must be successful in some shape or form? Like the basic essence of truth is God cannot fail. So that means even if I go to get my driver's license and I didn't do something the person said, like I didn't look in the rearview mirror or something, and so I didn't get my license on the first 7 attempts. Did I fail? Or was I successful in whatever my focus was? I manifested it. Meaning, if I was supposed to, in 3-point turning, check here, turn this, do this, and I didn't do it because in my mind I was doing something else, then didn't I successfully manifest that which my mind was focused on, which got me the harvest of? So, now granted, there is the human experience where things don't feel successful, where things feel like they're going wrong. But what happens when we apply this knowingness to those feelings? Like when the injury of failure happens. Oh, Lisa, I was trying to get into this college because, that's what I'm supposed to do. College, white picket fence, that's what I'm supposed to do. And I didn't get in. I didn't get accepted. Feels like a failure. Okay, I got you. I got you. Feels like. Feels like. Does not make you a. Big separation. You can feel sick, but not stand in the energy of I am sick. It's two different energies. Because a feeling can be released a lot quicker than an I am. I am black. I'm African American. And even though somebody else, another minister in this movement, believes that she can pray me white, the fact is, I am this color in this form. That which God is has incarnated itself as a black man.
Thank God.
That's not going to change in this lifetime. I don't just feel black. It's what I am, and what I am affects how I feel. If I say I am sick, then what I am now affects how I feel. So what would happen if you don't get accepted into college, you don't get the driver's license, you don't get the relationship, you don't have, and yet you still called yourself a success? I am a success because that which I am as the truest part of me, the I am presence that is showing up as me, God, Spirit, the universe, the force, whatever name we call it, that which it is, I am, and it cannot fail. So what I wanted, I did not get. What I wanted, the results did not. And yet I am still a success. What would happen energetically if we went there? What if, so remember we did this thing and it's like, that's the success. You got to go somewhere to get it. You got to do something to get it versus, like you got to get to work. You got to keep working. Don't stop. Which is, how many understand in American culture, we work and we work. A lot of us started working when we were in high school. Work. High school, college, work. Work. What you say?
I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good, Ron. We work until, and we say, I'm going to work until I retire. Till I retire. And then I'll enjoy life. And then we get to retirement. And a great many folks get there, and they're too tired, too fatigued, too worked out to actually enjoy anything. So this lie of keep working and then you'll be happy, work until, work for the brass ring. Now, how many kids have sat on the carousel, reached out to try to grab it and fell off of it, instead of just saying, I don't need that. I don't need that. That doesn't define or quantify who I am. Because ultimately, every step along the way is success. Every single step. Why did Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who we are celebrating tomorrow, birthday was last week and the holiday is actually tomorrow, said, you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just the first step. Just this one step. And the idea is, this one step is the only step you need to be concerned with. And if you fully step on that step and fully do what is yours to do on that step, then how can you be a failure? How can you fail at anything? And then when it's time, when it is now yours to do the next step, know that that step is. But the only way we get there is when we know in mind and in heart, I am that I am. I am a success. I am successful. I am that which is so successful in manifestation that it put that sun there, huge star, it put this planet here, put it on this axis, rotate, and I ain't got nothing to do with it. And I trust that it's going to continue. I trust that this next breath is there. I don't go to the breath bank and say, I'm like to save up for retirement. Yeah, I just dropped off my IRA and stuff at the thing. So they got my money, but I'm going to leave you 10. Okay, put that in a little baggie and save it for me for later. We don't do that. But the consciousness of saving up for and waiting for, it may as well be that. Why don't we trust? Why don't we let go of all of that consciousness around not good enough, never will be, fingers to the grindstone, work till you're dead, work yourself into a grave, work. Work so much you don't see the kids. Work. Don't enjoy life. Work. I came to work in the dark and I stayed in the work and I left work in the dark. Dark. Work. And that's how I make a living. That's what we call making a living. Okay, I got you. And I understand on one level, yes, on one level because of the way our economy is set up, I understand that. And I'm not saying anything about that being inherently bad. I'm saying the consciousness that created it and the consciousness that keeps it going by saying it is what must be. That needs to shift and change. For example, raise your hand if you are an educator, meaning a formal teacher, whether it's public school, high school, college, etc. Okay, or you used to be, doesn't matter if you are now or used to be. On an average, when does the average elementary school child have to be in school? But I mean, what time of day?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. And the average high school, middle school, and high school student?
7:30.
7:30-ish. Why?
So that the parents can get to work.
That's what we would think. But actually it's because way back when, in an agricultural society, the kids needed to be able to go out and do what they needed to do to help mom and dad do stuff in the I can't say in the garden, on the farm, to then be able to go to a little one-room schoolhouse or whatever, but then to be able to get back home by 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock to help also do chores around the farm. Are we still an agricultural society? No.
That's why we have summers off.
And that, thank you, because that's where I was going next. And that's why we have summers off. Yep. And it's been that way since 18, 17, 16, 13, like it's been that way for a long time. Why? And the consciousness of the country has yet to shift. But we are the consciousness of. When we anchor into what it means to individually be successful, then when someone comes to us with anything that is counter-consciousness related to that, we challenge it. It does not have soil to land in. It does not have a mind that those seeds will land in. It changes the level of our conversation. When you see this, I know you know what this is, but what does this represent? Hitting the target. And specifically, because the blue is still the target. But the average person that goes and they shoot, they don't want to hit the blue. They want to hit bullseye. Why? Why is it so important that it has to be bullseye? To such degree, because I got it, and I'm perfect. To such degree that when we see the movies about Robin Hood, and Robin Hood shoots the arrow, and then shoots the second arrow, and this first arrow splits what kind of perfection and mastery is this man? Witchcraft. I want that. I want to be able to be that perfect with something. What if you already are, though? Like, what if that level of perfection as the truth of your being is already that? That you're already whole, you're already perfect, and you're already complete. Because that which God is cannot be incomplete, cannot be anything other than absolute wholeness, and cannot be less than perfect. Why don't we marinate, meditate, concentrate on that more often? To such a degree that, so there's this, anybody know what this word is? It's a Japanese word. Judo. Anybody know what it is?
Japanese
Well, you
word.
can sort of take a guess. You sort of take a guess. Just a little bit.
Zen of Archery.
Basically, it's the Zen of Archery. Now, the actual Specific translation is the way of the bow. And the idea in Kudo is the archer becomes so clear-minded that it's not about even it's not about the actual hitting of the target. It's about clearing my mind so clearly that in my mind the target is hit. I aim, I draw, I breathe, and I release. I don't care where the arrow goes. I know that in my mind, because the idea for them is, if I am very clear in my mind of where the arrow is going, then the arrow will go there. So it's not about the result of where the arrow goes out there. It's about where did the arrow go in here. When we set goals or intentions, or it's New Year's and there's resolutions, are we focusing the arrow on a target out there? Or are we achieving it here first? Name some things that people typically say, this is my New Year's resolution. I'm going to...
Save money.
Say what?
Save money.
I'm going to save money. Pause. I'm going to save money. Now, why am I saving money? That would be my first question, but we'll say saving money. Am I focusing on that out there as in it's something I have to externally do first? Or is it in consciousness? If I start saving money in my consciousness, then I know what that means and I know what that looks like and I know what that feels like. Then when money hits my hand, it hits my Cash App, it hits my PayPal, it hits wherever it hits, it's like, oh, save. Because now what's external is matching what's internal. But if the internal isn't there yet, then as soon as it hits, it's, woo, I spent that fast. Like, wow, Cash App, ooh, buy this, buy that, Amazon Prime. You know, money just goes through my fingers like water. But why? What else do we, New Year's resolution?
Lose weight.
Lose weight. Is that because, now, let's think about it, because that and save money, similar thing. It's focusing on the external. If I internally see myself in, through, and as, whatever it is, I see. So losing weight might mean I feel healthier. Whatever that means. Is it internal first? So that then external. No. We focus so externally on all these New Year's resolutions that each year we set New Year's resolutions and we don't do. Versus setting an intention. And we can set intentions and not successfully, act on those either. If we're basing it on that consciousness of. But what happens when we start with, I am more than capable of saving money? Because, you know what? I am so successful at saving money that I don't need to save money because I am a money magnet. I am wealthy, I am prosperous, and I am rich. Oprah doesn't save money. She buys a pocketbook for $20,000. In my mind, that's not saving money. She's circulating it. So what happens when I internally change my mind about, I don't have to save breath, I don't have to save money, I don't have to save, because there's more than enough of. But what I'm going to do is when I get this dollar, when I get this $100, what I'm going to do is now plant it into the soil so that my harvest now demonstrates what I know to be prosperity. Because the farmer that saves the seeds doesn't grow anything. So it's about being an effective steward of those seeds. Whether those seeds are weight, whether those seeds are money, whether those seeds are, I'm taking classes this summer, whatever those seeds are, how are we stewarding them? Based upon this idea that we already are it. We are already successful. We are already prosperous. We are already that. And then live accordingly. So if I ask you, how do successful people live? Like, give me some just general ideas that successful people, how do they live their lives?
They go on vacations.
They go on vacations. That's it? They're carefree. Content.
They're able to feed themselves and their families.
They are more than able to feed themselves and their families.
They have a core sense of peace no matter what's going on around them.
core sense of peace no matter what chaos is happening externally around them. They are at peace. Okay?
They're pursuing worthwhile goals.
Pursuing worthwhile goals. Okay? Which of those, technically, are beyond our grasp? That we cannot do any of those things that you named. So all of them are things we can do. But if we're not experiencing it, then it means something needs to shift so that we can experience it. If we can't go on vacation, we can't be carefree, I can't feed myself or my kids, okay, then what needs to shift? First, internally, what needs to shift so that the external is now mirroring what's internal? And I can guarantee that the average parent, because I've known a many, growing up in Pittsburgh, the average parent who sees themselves as being unable to take care of their family sees themselves as a failure. I cannot succeed, I cannot do this one basic task of taking care of my family. How can I be at peace? How can I have a core sense of peace when I can't feed my kids? You want me to go on vacation, you want to be carefree, I can't be carefree, I have to focus on feeding my family. See how the energy spiral goes. Stop the spiral. Change the consciousness around it. And then the spiral starts to move up. So the thing is, when we are in conversation and you say to someone else, oh man, you know what, such and such is such a failure. Based on what? Like, ask people, what is that based on? I asked Tracy and I got into this conversation the other day, and I'm going to get back to this. Tracy and I got into this conversation the other day, and I said, Tracy, why are the Kardashians famous? All kinds of things. Now, we're not going to talk about one of the things that started the fame.
Thank you.
But we'll leave that for Ask the Minister Day. But the idea is, that is what our culture identifies as successful. Because they can do pretty much everything that was named, relatively. But is that the consciousness that all of us are aspiring towards? But it's the consciousness of the country, because that level of fame, etc., is built upon the consciousness that bows at the altar of. Right? The only reason they could be famous like that is because they have worshipers. And the only reason people worship that is because they worship what that energy represents. So for each of us, if we want to change the planet into a world that works for all, where anyone who wants to go on vacation, who wants to live carefree, who wants to be able to feed themselves and their family, who wants to have a core center of peace, no matter what's going on, if that's what part of being in a world that works for all means, then each of us has to take ownership of our consciousness, our thoughts, and the way and how we up-level. How many people in here have smartphones?
No.
How many of you have smartphones from 1999? Okay. How many have smartphones from 2000? Oh, okay, so, yeah, other than Tracy. Okay, so how come you don't still have the same old smartphone?
New and improved.
Okay, so, because
They got
it's
smarter
more
and I had to keep up.
Because as technology changes, the phones need upgrades. Same thing with our cars, our computers, all of it. There's an upgrade. Tracy and I were also talking the other day about there's some smart homes being built not too far from where we live. And we were like, what does that mean, it's a smart home? And Tracy said, you know the new washer and dryer we got? Yeah, it's that. And then I was like, oh, so the whole house, so it's Siri, start my coffee for me. Start the laundry. Technology is moving in that direction. Like right now, Lisa could go to her phone, like it's like Star Trek. Start the laundry. gentle cycle. Yes, Lisa, it's already started. Thank you. Right? Like technology is moving that way. But we don't upgrade our consciousness. Something in that is backwards. We upgrade our phones, we upgrade our cars, we upgrade our computers, but we don't upgrade ourselves. Why not? Ernest Holmes says in Can We Talk to God, when the mind is peaceful and still, oh, notice, be still, be still. Like we got references to this idea earlier. When the mind is peaceful and still, it catches a vision of this greater good. When the mind is in turmoil and in combat, it cannot receive an image beyond the limiting circle of the small measure in which it has been treading around. If our minds are focused on failure, our minds are focused on all that is going wrong, then that is the hamster wheel we are stuck in. But if we envelop in the midst of the hamster wheel, the daily grind, expanding our consciousness beyond that, then things start to change. But it takes work to do that. Are we willing to do the work that it takes to do that? In Science of Mind, Holmes says, we do not take what we wish, but we do attract to ourselves that which is like our thought. If I were to walk up to any one of you randomly, even though it doesn't make it random, randomly any time of the day, just walk up to you and say, Robin, what are you thinking about right now? Tapora, what are you thinking about right now? I know it's not sugar, but what are you thinking about right now? Like, in this moment, what are you thinking about? Are we willing to bring ourselves to a new level of mindfulness to simply check in with ourselves? In the same way, prayerfully, that we go to the refrigerator, take out the milk or almond milk, because I know some like, take it out and look at the expiration date. And if it's still good, you put it back. And sometimes it says February 20th. This is bad. We double check. We are more mindful with checking, but we won't check to see if that thought form has expired. Has the thought form of being traumatized, has it lived through its expiration date? Has the thought form of being a victim expired? Are we willing to throw it away, or are we putting those thought forms back in the refrigerator, back into the cabinet, back into our consciousness? Knowing that at some point, the rotten milk, the rotten lettuce, the rotten cornflakes are going to turn the box black, are going to turn into mold, are going to pour out into and affect. Because what do we say about those bunch of apples? How many does it take? One bad apple going rotten will affect the health and well-being of the others. One rotten thought about failure, about being a victim, about not being good enough, about having to chase some dream, goal, ideal that somebody else 400 years ago said that is what you're supposed to live based on. I would say that has lived past its expiration date. Are we willing to stretch beyond that, though? So he goes on to say, we provide the mold for the creative law. And unless the mold we provide is increased, substance cannot increase our experience. If we don't expand our consciousness, then our external experience cannot expand. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one eternal, one indestructible, absolute, self-expanding consciousness. One God, all-powerful, almighty, present right here, living, breathing, and moving in through it as us, as expansive consciousness. But if our thoughts are on limit and lack, then basically we're saying no. No, I don't want to be rich. No, I don't want to be healthy. No, I don't want to be at peace. No, I don't want to feed my children or myself. No, I don't want to live carefree. No, I don't want to save money. No, I don't want to live life happily and fully as I felt I should be able to. I am content with being miserable. I'm content with always playing tug of war with this anthropomorphic idea called success. knowing that at every turn it's going to win. Because that's how the game is played. It's how the game was set up. When do we let go and stop wrestling with? Or if you're going to wrestle, then wrestle like dude in the Bible who said, I ain't letting you go. Wrestling with the angel, I will refuse to let you go till you bless me. I am going to hold tight until you bless me. Wrestle with your job until it blesses you. Wrestle with the relationship until it blesses you. Wrestle with the silly minister till he blesses. Like wrestle with whatever it is until the situation blesses you. Like one or the other. Either let it go and get out of the fight, or stay in it and expand consciousness until it demonstrates accordingly. A thought held in mind after its own kind must produce. Apple seeds don't make oranges. So if our thoughts are success, and we speak success, and we act and live as if we are already that which it is, then I'm pretty sure what we are growing, what we are planting, and what we will harvest must be that. Science of Mind also says our part is to be ready and willing to be guided into truth and liberty. All doubt and fear must go. How much? All. All doubt and fear must go. In their place must come faith and confidence, for we shall be led by Spirit into all good. So, in the Ernest Holmes papers, which is almost as thick as the Science of Mind textbook, there's a section in there where a friend of Holmes, who is an MD, a metaphysician, and a devout student of Science of Mind, he listed these 5 things as the requirements for anyone to live an abundant and successful life. He starts off with, you have to have a goal. What do you want? Don't laugh at me, it's a typo. What do you want? Visualize yourself as having this. Visualize yourself as having this. Whether it's a happy marriage, wealth of friends, a more spiritual life, whatever it is, you have to see it. Your goal, you have to see it. If you see it, if you build it, it will come. Second, visualize yourself as the kind of person who has the character traits that make you feel the kind of success that you want. Are you the kind of person, you want to be a millionaire? Do you see yourself as being a millionaire? Or are you a poor person putting on millionaire clothes and faking the funk? Like, you got to change how your mind is about it to be it. We will call that vision. So you have to see the vision of yourself as the person who has the character traits. So, saving money. I have to see myself as someone who is an effective steward of my money. If I want to lose weight, I have to see myself as someone who is healthy and whole and living and moving and having my being at whatever weight I am. In here and in here. Third, repetition. Persistence. Constantly keep in mind both the goal and the vision. He later in the book included spiritual mind treatment. Part of this repetition is prayer. You have to pray about it. There's a song. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Oh, always. Spiritual mind treatment as being important during this step. Prayer and repetition are practically synonymous. Now think about that. When Topora is practicing, she's repeating these keys, these notes. She is praying that. When we are thinking same thoughts over and over, we are praying those thoughts. That becomes the prayer. Is that really what we want to pray, though? Fourth, which he says is probably the most difficult and most painful, is sacrifice. This is where people get stopped. You have to give up what is not serving your higher vision and goals. Are there friends who you know don't see you where you want to be, and every opportunity they get, they remind you that you're not that, you never will be that, you probably never will be. Who do you think you are? Friends and or family. It's not a friend. But we keep them around, we keep them close because we want the company of, we want the camaraderie of, rather than focusing on what do I need to let go of, what do I need to let go of, what do I need to let go of? Do I need to let go of sugar? Do I need to let go of this particular thing? Do I need to let go of my idea about why I am the way I am? You know, the reason I do this is because of how my mother, and the reason I do this is because of how my father. Am I willing to let that go? And lastly, he says faith. You have to have the expectancy of achieving. You have to have you got to expect it. And according to what the Bible says, you're supposed to pray as if you already have it. So this expectancy is faith that I know that there is that part of me that is already all of this. Like, are we willing to go there? If we're willing to put this into practice, then successful living is easy. Living successfully, living based upon the principles of success, because now we are out picturing what we already know to be the expression of God in, through, and as us.
Because heaven is within me. And I experience to the degree
To the degree that I become conscious of it. The degree that I become conscious of it. So if heaven is a happy marriage, wealth of friends, wealth in finances, the degree that I become conscious of my right and perfect weight, my right and perfect finances, my right and perfect relationships, my right and perfect whatever, the degree that I become conscious of that is the degree that heaven becomes my lived experience. Thank you, Robin. Today's affirmation. I am a unique expression of spirit, stepping into life in ever more amazing and wonderful ways. I am supported every day in every way. And breathe. And if this is something you feel that you can anchor into and are willing to practice, don't just say it because the person beside you or behind you is saying it. It is better to be silent and be still and know than to speak something that you are actually going to betray yourself with because you know you're not going to do it. If you feel so called that this is yours to do, then let's read it together. I am a unique expression of spirit, stepping into life in ever more amazing and wonderful ways. I am supported every day in every way. And breathe it in as we anchor this in prayer. Knowing that right here and right now, that which God is present. It must be because it is all there is. That right now in this breath, God is breathing itself as each and every one in this room. And knowing that that which is the divine spirit is breathing itself in, through, and as everyone in this room, then right here I know that that which God is as infinite magnificence, success, wealth, health, and wholeness is also breathing itself as everyone in this room. There is only that which God is. And so right now, through these words, as this prayer prays itself, I know that consciousness right now is expanding. Greater and greater levels of awareness are right now breaking open. Expanding this mind, recognizing there is one mind. Expanding this life, recognizing there is one life. And as I breathe into that and allow that and surrender to that awareness, I know that that which God is in me, through me, and as me shows me the greater vision for my life. Shows me what goals, shows me and helps me become the person who is living that. Gives me the strength and fortitude to be persistent, to focus on and do what I must do in the garden of my mind until that which I have planted comes to fruition in my harvest. That which God is gives me the ability to sacrifice and relinquish what no longer serves me. And that which God is as absolute faith in and of itself stands right here in, through, and as me, and is still and knows. And knows that it knows. And so right now, in gratitude, as I place these words back into the law where it is already fully formed and activated, demonstrating and manifesting right here and right now, I know that this truth about myself is true for everyone in this room, everyone who watches on Facebook Live, everyone who is watching on YouTube later, everyone who hears these words, feels this vibration, knows and knows that they know they must be that which is a success because God cannot fail. Knowing this, I surrender it because it is done. Together we anchor this and we declare it by saying, and so it is.